They're all fighting each other. This is chaos. That had to hurt. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka GeekXX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Invincible. We are now on Season 3, Episode 7, which is called What Have I Done? So the last episode, we had the whole kind of story arc of Powerplex, and really what that served to give us as an audience was some of the ramifications of what went down in Season 1. I am glad that, like I said in that episode, we revisited the aftermath that many of the people who were negatively affected by the fight between Nolan and Mark were. And that's basically what that episode was all about. Mark starting to get a better and bigger, broader understanding of just how much of a weight that he carries, but also how much Cecil and the GDA were protecting him from. So yeah, from that whole experience, hopefully Mark has figured out that going forward, he might have to start working a little bit more collaboratively and going and having a little bit less of going off and doing things on his own. Also, at the end of the episode, we see that Angstrom is still alive. He somehow did survive. It is the OG Angstrom, and he has somehow gathered a bunch of marks, I'm assuming from different timelines, and none of them look very happy. So he said whatever he's been planning, it's now time. So I guess in this episode, we're going to find out exactly what that time is, what that means. So let's jump into the episode. Just before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know of when I drop episodes, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, as well as a notification bell. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. Thinking flashback, that looks like. So we're going to see Angstrom get up. Oh! To survive that. Brain matter everywhere. Okay, so he just warped him back someplace they could fix him. Warped himself back, I meant to say, sorry. Y'all just pulled a random hand through a portal through? Guess you're trusting wherever he just portaled to. Respectfully, he couldn't have formed an M or an S with that mouth, but we're gonna go with it. Yo, it is actually a miracle he survived that. That one looks like a Nolan 2.0. That's crazy. No, I want to see all the marks. Wait.
Make them see Invincible. Make them fear Invincible. Make them hate.
The spittle. That was a very good touch with the animation.
And everything you want will be
Yeah, what did you promise them that they couldn't take them for themselves? Who are these battle bots, by the way? Like, where was he where they just fix him with no questions asked?
And if we're doing this...
I don't know if you understand fully how terrible they are.
I don't understand terrible parents.
Right? Like, my dad wanted to commit, like, global genocide. And you're mad because your parents are a little bigoted? Come on.
He can be there right away.
You sure?
What?
I don't think we need more of him. We need him to leave. I don't like Mohawk Mark. Is that bad?
I wouldn't even keep you as a slave in my empire.
You know, I'm not mad at this because I've always liked the idea of Pissy Mark, honestly. Like, I don't want him to be destructive, but I kind of like this Mark having a lot of edge.
To my prison, I could use a warm-up.
He looks terrible. Why would we need a Viltrumite? Oh, right, different dimension.
You sure this place is safe?
I think she can handle herself.
My job, not my power.
Right?
And cheap edges out safe.
If you say so.
The team's less annoyed with me now that I've chilled out. Things with us are downright rad.
You have definitely grown up, Rex. It's nice to see.
I'm kind of in a good place.
Weird. I think you just jinxed it, bro.
Oh, shit.
Well, there goes the neighborhood, quite literally. Really?
Whoa,
Sir?
what are you doing?
Coming with you.
He burned his clothes for why?
Be careful!
Are you kidding?
Right? That's not really Rex's thing.
I'll be right back.
I don't like all this ominous foreshadowing. It's pretty bad. I don't think we're gonna be able, well, maybe Eve can fix it. A lot more work this time.
Do you like what I've done to the place so far? I said, how
I like how Steven's trying to change up his voice for this. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. These pictures, it's gonna be like getting beat up by your dad again. Maybe not as hard though. I don't know if these marks are as strong as his dad is. I knew that headbutt was coming. Why don't you? How did you not see that that headbutt was coming, Mark?
Too late. Bolt! Kid door! It's me! Stop!
How would they know that, Mark? Respectfully, how would they know that?
Finally, they see him for what he is.
Not this crackhead.
There are two of you?
Oh, there's so many more.
Are wreaking havoc in cities around
You get to
the
see all
world.
these different versions of your kid.
And God.
Oh my god. Sorry, Deb. I just remembered that Oliver's gonna remember Angstrom.
Mom, please. They need me.
The way she's like, please come down. I mean, maybe he can help with civilians.
Find Mark.
What about you?
I'm going somewhere safe.
There is no place safe from Invincible. Maybe the GDA, but not likely.
Okay, team. Let's restrain this guy before he wakes up.
Probably too late. These guys... Oh god, the Pentagon. Oh, the sound works on all of them?
Perfect.
Oh god! How many times does he have to get his skin redone?
So no way to predict what they're gonna do next either.
Nope,
There is
because
some
they're not based on the
so
mark you knew.
This Invincible definitely wasn't as strong as ours.
Yeah, so far it looks like most of them aren't as strong as Mark.
The engineering wing is gone. And how exactly do we respond to this?
Can we get...
We make calls.
Can he get a new face? Can Donald get a new... No? I'm sorry. I know it's supposed to be Angstrom, but all I hear... all I hear is the actual actor. Like, I'm sorry. I'm watching Paradise right now, so just between the two of them, it's kind of funny.
Oh. And who do we have here?
Does not answer that question. I do wonder... Do you think that he's stronger than these marks too? Because, I mean, he's clearly advancing faster than Mark ever did.
And then we have to figure out who did this.
There's only one person who could.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for doing the math.
I already killed him.
Did you?
Won't be enough. Even together, you're a fraction of my power.
And yet, you're a fraction of Mark's. So, maybe that's why Angstrom was able to grab them, is because they're weaker.
Finally, a suitable host for the whore. Hell?
That's the immortal.
I cannot exist outside of my tomb without a host.
There were two right there.
Think about that.
Exactly.
Ah, good riddance to you, wretched female.
Okay. I can't believe this storyline is still going from season 1.
I murdered my own father. You really think you're gonna take me down?
Really? So does this mean that other Nolans are weaker, maybe? Curious. Or maybe other Nolans weren't as, like, maybe they actually got soft sooner than this Nolan did. And I soft, I mean, as in, like, actually accessing his heart and feelings. Not soft as in, I don't want to kill everyone, so I'm weak.
Hey, these two giving you trouble?
Fuck off!
I got this.
Okay?
Swearing doesn't make you cool.
Right? That's why you don't use capes, man. 101.
Mean it.
They're all fighting each other. This is chaos. That had to hurt.
I always hated you.
You mean there's a world where he got it right? I'm kidding.
Now what, Mark?
Omnivincible. Yeah. Thanks, Cecil.
Quick!
Though truthfully,
Body, I can do more out there than in here.
that's true.
You're just gonna get yourself killed, Don.
There's like 600 more of me.
That's what I do, sir.
Oh, no, Donald. No, that's so not okay.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! This is the greatest.
Nogasible? What was that? Okay. So in another world, Mark has the exact same costume. That's interesting. Oh no, with the broken bones. Why again? Not in the same room. My God. The immortal is going to be so traumatized.
Wait, what did he say when I ripped him in half? Shit, it was like so
With the
weird.
Martian.
You're a weird dude.
That's like speciesist. Omni-Man is like, I'm not Omni-Man, sorry. The Immortal is gonna hate this family so much, and I honestly don't blame him.
We're not dead yet.
I mean, is that dimension really gonna hold him?
I don't want to be locked away as long as they're broadcasting updates. We'll be safe here.
This is not her first rodeo.
I can't go, Paul.
Sorry, Paul. You can go if you need to.
Your car's this way. Come on.
The car.
Are you sure?
Forget the car, friend. Forget the car. Find some place underground. Is it Oliver? Oh, it was him.
You saved my life.
I mean, those mods have to come in handy somehow. Maybe he'll feel better now about what happened to him.
That monster must have killed him.
Nope.
Trapped
Well, maybe.
himself in the Shadowverse. Darkwood sacrificed himself to save us.
He did.
So we need to get back in the game.
Y'all can't heal quickly, though.
I don't have legs.
Right? Like, none of you have super healing, so...
Please be breathing.
That was a good segue. He wasn't talking to you, Rex, but I'm sure he meant it for you, too.
No, it's okay. I got a plan.
I mean, the one who can fly, if you need... That's how you evacuate, I hate to tell you. Even though Invincible can probably outfly you, but... Quickly!
Still can't tell when I'm lying.
I know, Rexy, but...
Well, that was stupid.
It's brave. Did he fake that? This is the faker, isn't it?
If you're worried you're gonna bleed to death before I kill you, you're dumber than even the Rex from my world.
No, there is a Rex in that world. Aw.
You're out of shit to explode.
Rex, not your internal organs, bro.
My entire goddamn skeleton, dickhead.
You were a real one, Rex. You were a real one, Rex. One thing you can't accuse Rex of, it's being a coward. I just hope it wasn't for nothing. Not the Billie Eilish. That is crazy that these are basically great value Invincibles, and look how much damage they did.
Still with me, Donald?
Seems that way.
Aw. Oh. Mostly. Holding his hand so gingerly.
We're losing this, Mark. The world needs you.
You got every superhero on the planet fighting for
And
you
they're
right
almost
now.
all dead.
Your mother is out there.
I said no.
For
You're
Eve?
gonna have to explain this to Eve when she wakes up.
Exactly.
She's not going to like
You tell her that you let your little brother and mom die for a 2-month relationship. Respectfully. Neither her or your ex would have put up with that. That'd be a twitch. Oh, he's so happy he finally got to kill one. Oh my god, that's only been 2 days! Nolan? Alan, where the hell are you guys? Respectfully.
Phase 1 is complete.
That's only phase
Meet me, you know where.
That's only phase 1. Engstrom, you were diabolical. Kinda love it. Oh god, not just hovering over this house like a seance.
It's time we were reunited. Face to face.
Is it crazy that the reconstruction actually kind of looks better?
I came here to find Mom and bring her back with me.
This Debbie doesn't want you, bro. You're not her mark.
We're done. Give us our dimensions now, or we'll kill you.
You really think he didn't think of that?
I was sure they'd turn on me much later.
Really? What's really sad, though, is that most of those marks aren't very bright. Mark, I need you to calm down. Engstrom's been planning this for months. You know better, Mark. Did we learn? Okay, good boy.
Smart boy! You know my tricks now.
Liking all the jiu-jitsu. You really can't sandwich these dimensions yet, Engstrom? Okay, man. That training definitely helped you since last time. Oh my god! That's a lot! At least they're only attacking Mark, though. He's not playing dirtier, because he really wanted to go after Mark's mom right now. Which I'm still not ruling out. And what's horrible is that this is PTSD for Mark too. Because this dimensions, that's triggering just to see those dimensions at this point. Yeah, punch your way through, Mark. You got this. He can't have a million of those, right? They gotta run out sometime. Oliver, help! Oh, getting close to the family jewels.
Once I'm done destroying everything you love.
Ooh, thanks for the motivation for him not to get pushed in.
Do it! Kill him! Before he escapes or something! Look at what he did! Kill him so he can never do this again! What are you waiting for?
Oliver's gonna kill him if you don't. Ew, he'll just get that replaced.
Oh man, so gross!
Says the kid that was rooting for death a second ago.
I'm getting my invincibles and we're going back.
I don't think they're gonna help you anymore.
Technicians. An appropriate name for cold, unfeeling monsters.
They've been watching you, bro.
Fix me now!
This is not the way you ask for a favor.
No. But we now see your word is without value. We had a deal that you failed to
What did you
honor.
promise them now?
You work for us now. Accept that and we will tend to your wounds.
That's what happens when you make too many deals
And
with the
your
devil.
remains will gift us endless fascination.
Yeah, you asked for that.
Paris, Moscow, London, Tokyo, New Delhi, Seoul, and Sydney have
Woo!
suffered similar.
Canada escapes again. Sorry.
The good news is, many survivors have been
Okay.
found.
I was like, where's the good news here? That's good news.
Attack.
Why
What would
indeed?
drive someone, anyone, to do this?
So Engstrom's crazy?
And we're praying that those answers come soon.
Oh, and by the way, Powerplex is out.
All that time I thought I killed Angstrom, all the torture I put myself through. All I can think about is how I should have killed him.
We've
You
learned
probably
nothing,
should.
Mark.
Would have saved a lot of lives, but you can't blame yourself for being a good
Exactly. Like, your emotions were valid, Mark. Yes, him dying would have been better, but...
Which is why we're gonna rebuild, find new talents, put teams back together, fund new research.
You just have to keep going, Mark.
You found my mom.
She was at her boyfriend's house the whole time. Most suburban areas weren't hit, thankfully.
She was smart to go there. None of these Marks would have thought that she would remarry, or not remarry, be with someone else.
We're still not working together.
Okay, Pouty.
Yeah, perish the thought.
Right? Even though you're using their facilities to heal Eve, but okay.
How do we rebuild from this?
One brick at a time. Oh, yeah, I told you, Powerplex is still alive.
When will it be enough?
Thank you, Oliver. For once, I agree with that.
Just hang on until he uses up all his energy. No! No! No!
God, he's like a toddler.
What's wrong with all of you? He caused this.
Not this, Mark, though.
This is all Invincible's fault.
And Invincible. There was Invincible. There was Nossigobbles or whatever his name was. There was Omnivincible. Wasn't Invincible. I don't think any of them actually took that name except him. Mark, maybe look a little less guilty, bro.
Angstrom did this because of me.
Not you.
Okay.
Other Marks.
She's our daughter. And we'd like some privacy with her.
Eve did warn her dad's kind of a dick.
The doctor said she's optimistic. Samantha's injuries aren't as severe as they could have been.
Very true. The fact that she survived is a miracle.
She's dead. And our little girl is alive. No, I'm sorry, dear. I don't mean to be so morbid.
This is very real. It sucks to say that when you hear that someone you know or close to you has passed, especially when it's a child situation, it's normal to feel lucky that your kid's still alive. It doesn't make you morbid, it's just a realistic thought. Doesn't mean that you're happy that other person's gone. Wow, they got the sign first? That was the priority? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, they put him back together.
I'm so happy to see you.
So he didn't lose his memory? I can't remember. Did they say that he loses some of who he is when he dies?
I'm done. I've given this world enough.
Good luck with that.
I want to start a family. With you.
Yes. Yes, oh my god.
Really?
I love you so much.
Getting pregnant right now? In this economy?
Most other heroes are injured or out of action. And I don't think our enemies will be kind enough to take a break while we rebuild.
Lucky for you, they're not coming back anytime soon.
I want you to lead the Guardians.
What? No. There's no way I'm qualified for that.
I mean...
You stood up to me, Mark. That means something.
Way to play it, Cecil.
Look, if something big comes up, call me.
Like rebuilding everything?
Otherwise,
while all the criminals can run rampant? Okay.
We're still trying to save lives. And we're still the good guys.
I thought we couldn't be both,
If
Cecil.
you need someone to talk to.
You're the last person I want to talk to right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Progress?
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
It never ends.
You were given more leeway than most, and yet I find this planet unprepared for the arrival of our Viltrum Empire.
What empire? All 15 of you?
The Empire anticipated your resistance, which is why they sent me.
With your arm that my dad ripped off? Shut up. Oh, wait, maybe he's not the same guy. Never mind.
So the only thing I want to do right now is hit something as hard as I can.
That's what they like, though, Mark. Like, that's foreplay to a man like this. Why would you say that? Mark, what did we say about rebuilding? What did we say? Didn't we say we were rebuilding? Oh, my God. Whew. All right. That episode was an utter mess. I don't mean like a mess isn't it? I mean, but what went down was entirely messy on so many levels. Woo! Poor Mark, poor Mark, poor Mark. This whole season from the beginning up until now has been Mark taking beatdowns in one way or another, if not emotionally, physically, not physically, mentally, like just every front possible. This kid has gotten attacked. But as they say, what does not kill you, right? And in Mark's case, he is going to be stronger, but scarred beyond belief. Scarred and just traumatized beyond belief. And that part is unfortunate. But let's get into it. Yeah, we see that Angstrom's plan was to basically have the world turn on Invincible, right? Right now, Mark's got a good reputation despite what happened with his dad. I mean, that was pretty easy because his dad was a completely separate person. But yeah, Mark, he's been living with at least a good reputation up until this point, and Angstrom decided that the takedown of Mark needed to be on multiple fronts, not just taking his life, but destroying his life, taking things that he loved away from them and eventually making him suffer before doing that. And that, of course, makes sense considering what we saw last season of what all the different Angstroms in different dimensions went through. Almost all of them lost somebody that they loved or everyone that they loved or had to watch their cities burn. He was basically paying back those marks for what had happened on their planets. But as we know, this is not the same Mark. This Mark is nothing like that. And Angstrom, if he was sane, would have known that. But we now know kind of how Angstrom put himself back together, because that was a big question. And we see, like, he was somehow just barely there when Mark left, and he managed to get some technicians to fix him. But it looks like the way that he got them to do that was because he promised them something. We don't know what it was, but we see that Angstrom unfortunately overextended himself in the promise department. Because I kept wondering, how did you get so many marks to agree to come with you and not just try to kill you on the spot, right? Especially considering your power. But it looks like these were all the lesser marks, for lack of a better term. These were marks that probably would not have been accepted by Viltrum, to be honest. They would have looked at him as spawn that was not worthy, right? We saw that back in season 2 that the Viltrumites have a hierarchy of what they believe to be acceptable acceptable breeding partners or acceptable spawn based on the races that they bred with. And that's why, for example, they consider Oliver not to be acceptable because they look down on Thraxans, for example. But anyway, they're really more concerned with how strong the spawn can get. That's what is most important to them, it looks like. And we don't know if in the other dimensions that there's the same situation with the Viltrumites being their population being dwindled, right? Because we know that in Mark's reality, his universe, his dimension, the Viltrumites are less than 50. So they're desperate, right? Even though they made their comment about Oliver last season, I honestly think the Viltrumites once they saw that Oliver can walk, talk, and has a long, well, actually, we don't know. We'll have to see. Oliver actually isn't a full year old yet, technically. But I think once they realize he's not going to drop dead as quickly as a Thraxan, they probably would reevaluate because their numbers are so low, they need Viltrumites. In fact, now that I'm thinking through it, I could almost see the Viltrumites wanting to potentially breed with more Thraxans because they could get Viltrumites grown a lot faster, right? Mark has still had to grow at a human's pace, right? It took him 17, 18 years to get to an age where he was old enough to really start doing some damage. Oliver is pretty much right neck and neck with Mark right now, and he's only not even a year old. You know what? Ooh, Oliver could be a problem for that. Now that I think about it, it's a great plan. I mean, maybe not what they would have expected, but Thraxans would actually make a really good breeding partners just for being able to build up that Viltrumite army. I mean, think about it. Depending on how many are left, the Viltrumites could potentially repopulate themselves by at least double or more within a year or two. Interesting idea. But I mean, obviously that probably would not be consensual, so that's a whole other thing. But I digress. So anyway, we see that that's what Angstrom did. He made a lot of deals with all of these different marks. It looks like they weren't, for whatever reason, either they weren't the strongest in their world. We see in some of them they took out, like we heard one of them say he took out Nolan. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Nolan was somehow weaker than this one? Maybe, I don't know. But either way, they seem to be not necessarily as strong maybe as this version of Mark and his dad. And it looks like Angstrom gave them all deals based on what they wanted most. For some of them, they wanted to take over other dimensions. For others, they wanted to be reunited with people that they loved from their world. And what's interesting and what I took from that was, even though, yes, like at least 3 or 4 of them were just like their dad, well, not like their dad because Nolan's not like this. You had a handful that were just like very nonchalant, just act super evil. Like, we don't care. We're just here to party and take people out. But it looks like more of them actually were like this Mark, in that we saw one who's like, I want my mom back. Another one's like, I miss William, right? And even when he mentioned mom, you see that all of them kind of got this look on their face. And we know that in some of the dimensions, Debbie did join Nolan, but it looks like in a lot of them, maybe she didn't. And that potentially is why they ended up the way, you know, that one guy said. But the point being that there is kind of a theme, it looks like, overall, outside of the fact that almost all of them put some version of Invincible in their name, they all had an emotional side, right? All of them kind of had a little bit, maybe it's their human side that was somewhat there, but maybe they've had to suppress because whatever happened on their world. So anyways, I thought that was interesting that they kind of kept that theme with all the marks. But anyway, that is how Angstrom convinced them to come to this world and just destroy it and cause mayhem and just listen to him, right? Quite frankly, actually listen to Angstrom when they are, like I said, more than capable of taking him out. So anyway, that's what ended up happening. They, as we saw at the end of the episode there, close to the end of the episode, they decimated pretty much every major center on the planet, every big city, every place that had high populations and would be extensive and expensive to rebuild. Lots of lives lost. But again, thankfully, taking people out was not really their objective, and that much I will give Angstrom. Like for this one, he didn't really want people. Like he said, I don't really want you to take people out. I want you to kind of like cause the most destruction possible. So that's probably why there wasn't as many casualties, because we saw that, yes, they did take people out, but it's mostly people trying to resist them. So that's, I guess, one small mercy in all of this. But either way, a lot of damage. And Mark, even though he hasn't had time to process it yet, him actually having to come face to face with other versions of himself that are so very different than him, and who are, some of them, just completely devoid of empathy and just basic decency, like that's going to come back to haunt Mark a little bit, you know, because he heard about it from Angstrom, obviously, but it's one thing to hear about it. It's another to actually come face to face with what Angstrom was talking about. And even then, he didn't get to see the worst of what they're capable of. So, you know, it's sad that Angstrom is completely demented, because I feel like in a different way, if there's something like this had happened in a different way, maybe Mark would have been able to somehow appeal to Angstrom in some way. But I mean, Angstrom's crazy. We know that. I'm just saying that maybe things could have been different, but I digress. So that was most of the episode. It was, of course, poor Mark and the Guardians doing the best that they could to wipe out as many of these marks as they could. And they were able to, thankfully, because as Donald let us know, they weren't as strong as Mark. I don't think any of them, with the exception of the one that Darkwing took into the dark world or whatever, almost all of them were not on par with Mark. That's the only one I feel like might have been on par with Mark strength-wise, but the rest of them, thankfully, if the other ones could take him down, like if a combination of the other heroes were able to take them down, and Powerplex was able to take one out, then yeah, they were definitely nowhere near as as strong as Mark. And that definitely poses some questions for me, because I would think that all the different dimensions of Mark would have been the same, but I don't know, it just makes me curious as to what would be the factor that would make them less. But I guess maybe it's the difference, right? Because back in season 1, Nolan said that even though Mark was part human, he said that his DNA was more Viltrumite than human. And that's why he was getting his powers, and that's why he was going to be more like his dad. Does that maybe stand to reason that in other mixes, maybe the Viltrumite isn't as strong? Like maybe there's more human DNA than Viltrumite? I don't know. Like I'm thinking about human DNA, right? With us, when humans have a baby, 50-50 on DNA, right? Even though not everything will present exactly 50-50, it's equal contributions in the DNA. So I don't know. I don't know if it's different with Viltrum, but I'm just trying to figure out why some of them were weaker. That's just curiosity point for me. It could also just be their environments, right? We don't know what these other worlds are like if the planets slightly differ, if there's other environmental factors, but we'll have to see. But anyway, that was a rough time for Mark. We see Eve tried to help, and Mark rightfully told her that she should go, but I understand why Eve didn't. Like, that's not her. She's been at this hero business a lot longer than Mark. There was no way she was going to walk away and especially leave him alone. And unfortunately, she got hurt bad. Thankfully she wasn't killed, but yeah, she got hurt real bad. And that's of course weighing on Mark as well, because it's the second time that a girl that he's loved has gotten hurt because of him, or almost hurt. I mean, thankfully Amber didn't go through something. I mean, Amber probably wouldn't have survived, honestly, if she'd gone through something like that. But yeah, it just sucks that this is twice now that this has happened to Mark. So again, like I said, the trauma keeps building on trauma with Mark, and it just sucks, right, that he has to go through that. We see that, like I said, different Guardians, they had to call in Guardians globally to help with this, and we saw a lot of faces that we're probably never going to get names to, but it was cool to see some of them. And then we see with, of course, our team that we're familiar with, we almost lost the Martian. We didn't. I had a feeling he wasn't dead though, because I'm like, I don't think his physiology is the same. And clearly that Mark had no idea that he was a Martian. Wasn't worried about the Immortal, like unless Mark literally destroyed his head, there was no way that he was going to be killed. They just had to put him back together, which they did. Darkwing, we don't know. Like anytime we see a show like this, if we don't see the death, I'm not going to rule out that they're still alive. Darkwing knows that dimension way better than anyone. So as long as he doesn't try to leave, and as long as he, I think, just does his best to stay away from Mark, he can probably survive down there, because I'm assuming that Mark, but I mean, we'll have to see. That Mark out of all of them definitely looked like I said, he was the strongest, and I think he was the smartest. So I think if there's a way for anyone to figure a way out of there, it'll be him. But as they said, if his first instinct is to kill Darkwing, he's trapped in there forever. If that's the case, then Darkwing really was a G to the end. But I'm hoping, some small part of me is hoping that Darkwing finds a way out of there. But anyways, even if he does bring this Mark back though, I was about to say, at least there's all the other Marks are gone and Mark's here, but now Mark's got the other Viltrumite to deal with. I already forgot his name. Anyway, so that's them. And then we see with the other side of things, Monster Girl thankfully survived, as did Rex. Basically the only member of that group that died was Rex, potentially. And I only say potentially because we didn't see it. I think we can say he's gone though. I mean, he blew up his literal rib cage. Like that's a lot. I mean, in fairness, he got shot through the head and that should have been the end, and he survived that. But I'd be really shocked if he survived this. If he literally completely detonated his bones. Yeah, I don't know. They was off camera, so we'll have to see. But anyway, that part kind of sucks. And I said in the episode, smart Debbie, she went to her boyfriend's house. Really good call, because I think she figured that all these Marks, if it's like it was in any other dimension, they would go to Mark's house to look for him or her, and they would have no idea that she was dating a new guy here, right? So it was very smart for her to go there. And as we saw, both her and her boyfriend were safe, thank God. Oliver got in the mix for the most part. He did a good job. Like, he helped with rescue and search, which was good. Anything that helps Oliver get in touch with his empathy is a good thing. But we see that almost went away there at the end with that whole situation with Mark and Angstrom, but we'll get to them in a second. But yeah, that's kind of what it was all about. This whole episode was really just mayhem, and poor Mark just having to punch his way through so much, which was sad, but had to happen. And then, yeah, we saw that coming back to Angstrom, I'm sorry, I got totally diverted. Coming back to Angstrom, made a lot of promises. Turns out that, when the guys realized that Angstrom was going to basically keep giving, more addendums to what he wanted them to do, they basically said, no, we're just going to we're just going to take you out. Thankfully, Angstrom already knew that they were going to turn on him at some point, and he was ready for that. And they're now all in the same dimension that he was in, and probably trapped there now, unless these new, whatever those engineer people are, decide to make him bring them back. But anyway, then he decided to face Mark at that point, which I think was obviously, like, that's the part where I know that the brain part didn't fully heal on him, because he should have known that going up against Mark again like that was probably not going to go his way. But you know, we had to do it. He had to do it. We have to kind of put this Angstrom thing to bed. So yeah, we see he went up against Angstrom again, and Mark learned, right? One thing Angstrom did not anticipate, I think, with Mark is that he's trained since the last time he interacted with him, right? When he interacted with him last season, he'd had a little bit of training through his dad, but nothing as rigorous and vigorous as what he's been through since the beginning of this season. And thank God for it, because that's how he was able to avoid all of Angstrom's tricks. And yeah, in the end, he almost got killed. Mark was very close to finishing it, because we saw that he was very much regretting whether or not he should have killed him. But in the end, because he saw Oliver's bloodthirst just rush out again when he came there. I mean, I understand Oliver's reasoning, and a lot of people would have reasoned the same way. Like, this man has caused you so much pain, Mark, and then this time he caused the whole world pain. Let's end it. But killing him in cold, like the first time was a rage response. It was self-defense, yes, but it was very much a combustion, an emotional combustion of Mark's. But this time, if he did it, it would have been actual cold-blooded murder. It really would have been. And that's a different level entirely. So I'm glad, especially with his brother watching, that he was like, I can't do it. You know, I can't. If there's a way to contain this man, that is a better way. And plus, for someone like Angstrom, a teleporter being contained, like, that's a far worse punishment than taking him out. So anyway, we see that he tried to do that, but of course, distractions, and he ended up getting back into the world with the engineers because he lost a hand. And I had a feeling his powers wouldn't work the same without both hands, but also that's not really it. It's because we find out that part of what these engineers were smart. And one thing I noticed, which was interesting, is that they showed that scene of the engineers watching Angstrom when he was like sitting in his big, you know, monitor room watching everything that was happening. And I knew that they focused in on them for a reason. And I was like, what's going on there? And now we see it's because they were trying to see whether or not Angstrom was going to be a man of his word. And then we see there that they realized he wasn't, and they weren't dumb. When they put him back together, they put in a failsafe, it looks like, and whatever those receptors are in his head that are probably holding it together, but they're obviously also something they could use to undo everything they did from the sounds of things. And that's why they said to him, like, well, at this point, since we don't think you're actually going to come through with what we asked you for, you got two options. You can be our little puppy, our little work dog here. You'll do what we tell you to do, or we basically let you die. 20 years, it's up to you, right? We're giving you a choice here. So it looks like Angstrom is going to have to be their lapdog. I don't think he's ready to turn in life just yet. So I'm very interested to see what these engineers are up to, because Angstrom's power is insane. If you really think about it, that's a really, really crazy power to have. And since we don't know what these engineers are all about, now that they've got Angstrom under thumb, yeah. I wonder if we're going to even delve into that, but yeah, without knowing what they're about, that's a little bit scary. But anyways, I think we can say for now that Angstrom is safely off the chess table, at least for the foreseeable future, and that the other, you know, great value marks are probably going to stay in that dimension for the foreseeable future as well, which is not a bad thing at this point. So that's kind of where we ended up with everything. And yeah, poor Mark is just trying to figure out what the heck to do. So anyway, Cecil now said that because the world's in shambles, we need a new leader of the Guardians, because Immortal said, you know what, I'm done. I've died again at the hands of a damn Grayson, and I don't want to do this no more. Quite frankly, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done dying. I'm kind of done seeing the people I love almost get killed. Like, thank goodness, once again, Duplicate that came this close. So, I mean, I think she probably still has a copy somewhere else, knowing her. But, you know, anyways, so her and Immortal are, I guess, going to get married and have, you know, Immortal duplicating babies. That just sounds really OP. But anyway, I'm not mad at them. Duplicate has already shown us last season that she's kind of over it. She doesn't want to do this anymore. That's exactly where the shrinking girl was coming from as well. She wants to live life for herself. And obviously she feels bad because she really wanted Rex to want that too. But in the end, we saw Rex loves this stuff. So if he is out, which I believe he is, he went out doing what he wanted to do. So yeah, the team is now dwindled, and they said we're down a lot of Guardians, we're down a lot of fighters, we've got a lot of rebuilding to do, and we still know that there's an ever-looming Viltrumite threat, so we need somebody. We need to still have something going, and so Cecil basically nominated Mark to lead the Guardians, and we see that Mark didn't want to take it. You know, he still feels like all of it's going to be like it was before. But Cecil's like, you know, if you're leading the Guardians, you're not really going to be working for me like that. I think Cecil was basically trying to say to Mark, like, I realize I'm kind of past the point of telling you what to do. I can't really do that anymore. But, you know, work with us, right? Because he still needed Cecil. Twice he would have died this past episode if Cecil's machines that he hated and other other resources hadn't come in and saved Mark's bacon. So he needs Cecil. And Cecil didn't have to. I mean, he kind of did, but you know what I'm saying? He really didn't have to with the way that Mark has been treating him. So anyways, I'm glad that Mark, through the last few episodes, has recognized just how much Cecil and the GDA have been doing for him. And I think it's starting to click on him that he can't be completely independent of them. But of course, his pride won't let him say that just yet. So anyway, I do like that despite, you know, the fact that so far he said no to that when Cecil offered to just be an ear for Mark to talk to, that Mark didn't completely throw it back in his face. Like he was like, nah, I don't want to talk to you, but he was like, thanks. That little thanks in the end tells me that he probably will be talking to Cecil soon. But that's a good thing. Mark needs to talk to somebody. So anyway, that's where we're basically at, except for the ending, which, you know, poor Mark is doing his best to try to push through all these efforts and deal with all this guilt. And now yet another a-hole from Viltrum is here trying to threaten Mark into submission. And it's like I just felt like looking at that dude and be like, read a room, pal. Like, look at Earth right now. Like, what more do you want Mark to do at this point? The look at everything. Do you think Earth's in any position to resist you right now, bro? Respectfully, really? We couldn't even handle the budget versions of you. You think we can handle a pure-blooded Viltrumite right now? Anyways, but Mark said he's got some frustration to beat out of the system, so we'll see whether or not that's going to be something that'll help him, but I just don't think it is. It's probably going to cause more destruction in a completely destroyed zone. So, Mark, I don't know what you need. I don't know who you need to help you get grounded, bro, but I just hope that Nolan and Alan are on their way. I'm thinking they might be, actually, now that there's a full-blooded Viltrumite in the mix. But yeah, what an episode. What a mess. Things have not gone well at all for Mark this season. He really needs help, and I think it's going to have to come in the form of Nolan, quite frankly. So I can't wait for him to arrive, and I think we only have one episode left, right? So yeah, hopefully that's where we're going to see the reunion and see what happens from that. So yeah, interesting episode. I enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.